Do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like me, they long to be close to you.
Welcome everybody to a special Valentine's edition of the Jolley Marriage Show. Love y'all, and hope y'all are ready for a wonderful night. We're going to do something different tonight than we usually do. We're going an hour. We got special guests on, and we're going to let them have some time. We're going to talk about their expertise, which is relationships, and we're going to invite your questions tonight. For those who might be joining us online, on our YouTube channel, or on one of our other outlets, I'm Dr. Willie Jolley. This is
me,
D. We're the authors of the book, Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last. 10 Secrets to Shape a Great Marriage. We've been married for going on 40 years, haven't had an argument in over 35 years, and we are grateful. We wrote the book, we got the show, and now we're so excited. We're excited. Many of you asked. The TED Talk that we did back in September was finally released last weekend, and it is now available to any and everybody around the world to see. People are joining and saying, what a great show. We've gotten so many positive comments.
I keep saying that you're funny.
They say you're funny. Okay, but we both are funny. They seem to like it, and we want you to watch it and then share share it with everybody you know. Go to jollymarriage.com. Jollymarriage.com. Watch it and see it and let us know that you saw it. Let us take a moment to introduce our special guest. This is the first time we've ever had guests on this Monday Night Jolly show, but these folks are so fantastic and so incredible. We decided, my wife actually said, after listening to them, they're my special guest on my XM show this week, and they were so phenomenal and so incredible. My wife said, look, we need to have them on the marriage show. And I said, you know what?
This is perfect because it's Valentine's Day almost.
Yes. And I said, you're right. You're right. It is the perfect time and the perfect place to have them. So ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to these two wonderful people. They are the authors of this popular and powerful new book called Kiss. Keeping Intimacy Sweet and Simple. They are Dr. Johnny and his beautiful bride, Lezlyn Parker. They are relationship architects who help couples build marriages that flourish. They are the founders of the Parker's Group, LLC, which provides leadership, relationship development, and coaching. They have spoken nationally and now internationally. They are being heard all over the world now. Whether you're newlyweds or you've been married for many years, it's never too late to engage in a positive habit to bring you and your spouse closer and to create a greater relationship. The Parkers have created a simple marital toolbox that can strengthen your relationship and regular. I will let them tell you what the regular activity that will help you do it. But they are in demand. He's also a professor at Johns Hopkins. He's lectured at Princeton. She's a relationship coach, and they coach together as well. I'm honored.
They coach athletes.
Well, he coaches leadership development for athletes, for the NBA, for different sports. Very impressive, and corporate companies. But then she does coaching as well, and then they come together. I want to take a moment to thank our dear guests, our dear friends, Dr. Johnny and his beautiful Jamaican sensation bride, Lezlyn. Welcome to the Jolley Marriage Show.
Yeah. Thank you. We're so honored. We are honored. We love you both. Thank you so much.
We can't think of a better thing to do on a Monday night or a Sunday night or a Saturday night but hang out with Dr. Willie and Dee.
What a joy.
We're excited to hang out with you guys tonight.
Well, Johnny and Lezlyn, we talked. I gave them a little thumbnail sketch about who you are, where you came from. Why don't you tell us a little more about the two of you and how you got into helping married couples and couples who might think about marriage build a solid foundation as relationship architects?
Yeah, so I'm a Jamaica, New York guy. I grew up in Jamaica, Queens, New York.
I'm from the real Jamaica of West Indies.
Yeah, so that's why you refer to. So, as you said, Dr. Willie, I call her my Jamaican sensation, and she calls me.
I call you my ball wonder.
Yeah. So that's how we get down. She's a Jamaican sensation. I'm the bald one. But growing up in Jamaica, Queens, New York, I grew up in an area, in the hood, and I saw a lot of domestic violence and things. And so when I came to faith in the Lord later on in life, when we met in college, and so that's been over 30 years ago. Well, being from Jamaica, and she's from Jamaica, I told her I was Jamaican.
And I believed her.
Yes, I was from Long Island. She was from the real island. And I was from the Long Island, Jamaica, Queens. But here's the deal. When we met in college, I wanted to study counseling and psychology because I saw a lot of anger and domestic violence growing up in my community. And I wanted to help families. I wanted to help men. I wanted to help couples learn how to communicate and have better relationships.
And with me growing up in the church, we had a small church, you all. It was probably about 100 people. And in the neighborhood where we lived in Northwest DC, we would always have people over our house. I said, Mama, why can't I go over other people's house? She said, no, because our value is different from their value. So I said, okay. So I started to do a little bit counseling and interviews. And I said, wow, I kind of like this. And they were asking me questions. And in our neighborhood, we were the only family like stability that had the mom and dad. And then we went to church. And so one day my parents would always say on Sunday, we're going to have the missionaries over. Not that we didn't mind, but it was like once a month. They would always raise their hands. And so my sister and I would be in the kitchen Sunday evening cooking. And then the family will be over. So we're listening. And I said, you know what? I wouldn't mind helping people. I want to give back. And I want to give back to the world, my community. And so my mother said, well, you can. I want you to dream big. And so I said, okay, Mom, I'm going to dream big. One day I want to be, a teacher, which I did become a teacher. And then I want to be, maybe if not a counselor, maybe a life coach, my husband. I said, this is a while ago, but someone had said, I said, I want to be all that. And so I did become all that.
Amen. So y'all met in college, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. And then he pursued you with great vigor.
Yeah.
He kept on running after me.
Yeah. My theme song was Jamaica Funk. That's what it is, trying to get into you. That's our theme song. And so, yeah. So that's our national anthem.
All right. Well, how did y'all become relationship architects?
I like that term, though.
Yeah, it's a great term.
Yeah,
Great
thank
term.
you.
Yeah, because we saw that a lot of couples at the core was the foundation. And we tell people love is not enough. Love is cornerstone, but you have to have the love, you have to have the skills, and because we had so much tension in our relationship, I would get so angry in our relationship. I would leave our apartment because I was afraid of my anger. I didn't know what I was going to do. And so I would leave. And so here I am doing marriage and family work in those days, but the physician couldn't heal himself. I could help other couples, but I didn't know how to deal with my anger and how to deal with conflict in our relationship. And so together, once we began to we went to counseling.
Yes.
And once we began to take ownership of our stuff and our story, we had a real passion and desire to help others turn the page, because we were stuck in a bad story, and we know many other couples stuck in a bad story. So we want to help them turn the page to a better story.
So I was brought up too that I said, nope, divorce wasn't an option. Maybe other things, but murder, but no. So I said to myself, no, honey, if you're running, I'm running with you. I'm going too. No, because in our home, we had stability. If I saw my parents fight, they were a great model. My dad had a prayer closet. He would go. So when he got upset with my mom, I would look at him, my sister and I, and he said, I'll be right back. He went and was praying for my mama.
Spent a lot of time in that closet.
And then when he came out, my mother was so calm. And I said, you know what? When I get married, I'm going to do that. And I just saw, even though we were fussing, I was praying, but I thought, no, I'm not going to leave this man. So I heard other couples, they were like, well, how did you stay with him? I can't stay. I'm getting divorced. I'm like, divorce? Why don't you work this out? It was other situation. Can't you work it out? Okay, if you don't want to go to counseling, get a mentor, go to church. And I would be more detailed. No, you're going to work this out. And I couldn't stop it. And some of my friends did get divorced, but I said to myself, I want a marriage. Whatever we go through, we got to work together so we can help other couples.
Yeah.
Johnny, you have a phrase that you use often. You say people start on the love boat and then you go from there. Talk about that.
Yeah, that's our story. Yeah, we started up on a love boat, right? We send out a wedding invitation and we throw rice and we dance to electric slide, all this wonderful. And then how do they give up on the Titanic? How do we go from the love boat to the Titanic, hitting all these icebergs? And now we're ready to send out a certificate of divorce. And so we believe what happens is drift happens. Drift happens. Drift. Yeah, you start and you're excited, you're thrilled, but people don't realize that you have to be intentional. Great marriages don't happen automatically. You have to be intentional. In marriage, we don't bump into better. We don't wander to wellness. Better and wellness happen intentionally, deliberately, purposefully. And so you have to be, so the enemy, every story has an enemy, Dr. Willie.
Right.
Every story has an enemy, and the enemy in marriage, the enemy in the story of marriage is drift, complacency. We get complacent. We do things in a year or two or three that we never would have done on the first date.
Right. For folks who are joining us, who might just be joining in, we have the Relationship Architects, the best-selling book. Dr. Johnny and Lezlyn Parker have a book called Kiss, Keeping Intimacy Sweet and Simple. And they're going to tell you why they talked about the kiss.
Talk about, before that, drift.
All right, you want to talk more about drift?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. How did drift happen? And how to, because that's a problem.
How you prevent it.
Yeah, that's a problem. Couples start out on love and fired up, and then they drift, and then they cool to each other. They don't talk.
Is drift an acronym for something?
No, but maybe one day we will. But we do have an acronym. We could talk about a little later about the core values, because the core values help the drift from not happening.
Go ahead and talk about it now, Johnny. Give it to me.
Yeah. So what happens is this: many couples need to be like the Ritz-Carlton. What we did in another book called Turn the Page, we researched and we interviewed managers from the Ritz-Carlton. The Ritz-Carlton has 24 core values. They take 2 days to onboard their people. And this is where the same dynamics that are true to have a great business and build wealth and have a great business and be a great leader in the corporate culture, you need in your marital culture. And so what they do, they every day for 15 minutes, they have a huddle up and they talk about one of their core values and they tell a story. And so that's what we learned in our marriage. We have our core values. You want to go through the core values?
Sure.
Yeah. So we have our last name is Parker's. And so we use an acrostic. And what you want to do, everyone that's listening, married or single, use your name, your first name or last name. We use our last name and we form an acrostic identifying our core values. So here we go. The P in our name is pleasing God. That's the P. The A in our name is accepting one another. The R in our name, respecting one another. The K in our name is keeping short accounts. The E in our name is encourage one another. The R in our name is renewal. And the S is service. And so what we do,
and we said everyone, why we have an S on the last name of Parker's, because everyone should give back to their community.
Absolutely.
What we're doing is our communities with couples, singles, giving back.
Yeah.
So we think as a couple, you get united, you do something, whatever it should be. It could be in the church. It could be helping
in business, in the community, business, whatever. Yeah.
But to do that together so it won't be boring, and that the stability in marriage will be close.
And the thing is that you have to be, here's where the intentionality comes in. Like the Ritz-Carlton, we once a week will sit down. So if you came into our home right now, we're in my office in the basement. We have a studio here. But if you came into our home right now, went to our family room, you would see what we just gave you. It's right there. You see it. We see it every day. We have 3 sons. One's at home right now, but we see it every day. We taught this to our sons, and we deliberately once a week talk about how did we show up living out our core values this week. We do what the Ritz-Carlton does.
That's right. And we put it right in the kitchen, right? Yeah. Right on that center so we could see it.
Every day.
Then I'm looking at it, you all. I'm looking at for Parker's. Well, did I please for the P, pleasing God? Maybe not. I wasn't good to my husband. So I'm talking to myself what I need. So when we get back together, which is Sunday, we'll meet probably after dinner. We'll talk about our core value.
Right.
And then, honey, what do you think? We're not blaming, honey. This I didn't really do good on maybe accepting, you know, myself.
I was going to go with accepting. I want to go in it. I think this would be
Right,
a blessing
accepting.
for those who are listening. You say accept each
One
other.
another, accept one another.
So what does that mean to accept one another? Do you accept their bad habits? Do you accept their...
No, it doesn't mean acceptance. Does not mean approval.
Oh, okay.
We want to
That's
be clear.
big. Okay.
Yeah, acceptance doesn't mean approval. Acceptance means, how do I learn to love you where you are and not where I think you ought to be?
Right. Even though we're different, and D and Dr. Willie, we're all different. But how do I accept? What I had to do is certain things that 33 years, we're 34, still trying to accept. But I have to be in prayer. So I have to look at me. I have to be intentional and look at me in the mirror. Lord, this is so hard. I'm trying to accept whatever, maybe not the dishes, you know, that's not washed or just whatever. But Lord, do I accept it? God, please, I'm crying out to the Lord. Can you help me? And once you do that and leave it alone, eventually it will turn around.
Yeah. You know, people putting up in the chat saying, wow, 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 that's powerful. So acceptance is not approval. That's
So I want to go back to the idea. The acrostic is a great concept.
Yeah.
So you're suggesting that with everyone's last family name
or first name, one or the other,
or first name,
but probably
as a family
last name makes sense.
That we agree as to what our core values are and create an acrostic with our last name. That's very personal.
Yeah. Well, let me go this. I'll go a step further. The research around this, Dr. Willie and D, is this. Leadership research literature says this. Leaders who lead from their core values over 110% more effective.
Wow.
And when they lead from their core values, they increase and deepen trust and engagement by 126%.
Wow.
This is the power of core values. And so we've seen this, and even from a spiritual biblical, we have, you know, in our church, we go to the same church. In our church, once a month, we have a time to remember our core values of communion and who Jesus is, what he did for us. And we come to the table of communion to remember the core of our faith. It plays out there as well. And so that's the power. And the beautiful thing, you need that in your narrative at work and at home. We just posted something on IG today and on LinkedIn. You can win at love and thrive at work. And we talked about what we're talking about right now, of just being intentional about your culture at work, your culture at home. Trust at work, trust at home. Emotional intelligence at work, emotional intelligence at home. So that's the power of having the core values.
And we want to build the bond between the marriage, right? Yes. And it's like, okay, honey, I know that I need to work at this, but you see the communication as we go back and forth and talking, it could be a 10-minute. We call it in our book 10-minute connector.
Well, let's talk about the book. Go ahead.
To summarize, so you have to have communication is everything. So you need that conversation. What are our core values?
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I think everybody should work on those. That's so one of the tips from tonight, folks, is work on your core value. If you can make an acrostic of your last name, great. But if you have a name like maybe B, like my niece's name is BEA, well, you could do that, or you could take a word that you come up with. So the key is make it memorable, just like you saw Lezlyn jumped in every time he said one because they were memorized. They know the core values. It's not something that's fuzzy. They know them. So I'm encouraging everybody to do that. Second thing, you encourage people to kiss.
Yes.
Oh, now tell us why, because this is powerful, folks. Folks, listen to what they say about the power of a kiss and why it's important. Go ahead.
Man, I almost kissed her when you said it, man. I was going to put one on her, boy. Every time I see them lips, I want to take all the lipstick off the lips. I tell her, hey, Willie, I tell her black lips matter. Come on over here, girl. But you know what? Because we know what it's like to drift. And there have been times in our marriage when I said to her and we said to each other, we feel lonely. We didn't know what was going on. We call it the front stage. Front stage in a marriage is communication.
We call it what?
We call it front stage, backstage.
Front stage, backstage.
Yeah, front stage is the external. So front stage is the words we speak in communication. Backstage is where real vulnerability and where the story originates of who we are, what we want, why we want it. And so in my backstage, in our backstage, especially my backstage for a long time, Lezlyn was knocking at the door wanting access to my backstage, and I wasn't letting her in. I didn't know what was back there. I didn't want her back there. And I was, it was a lot of pain back there, a lot of shame back there. And so we lived in that space for a long time where I battled with depression and panic attacks. And she didn't know how to get back there. And so, again, we went to counseling. We're working through this stuff. And so what we did, we said, okay, once we began to turn the page and began to allow each other's access to each other's backstage, we said, how do we help other couples, people getting married, people who are married? And so what we did a couple of years ago, we went off to the mountains. We like to go to the mountains a lot, a place in Central Virginia called Wintergreen. And we got a big sheet of paper and we listed a bunch of questions and conversation starters. And so we developed these conversation starters. And so we said, hey, what would it look like if couples were to have 10 minutes of a conversation starter? And you want to share with them one of the conversation starters, my love?
And it could be one like conversation, and it's 52 days. So each day you have one, right? So one will be my favorite memory with you. What's your favorite memory?
Memory with you, yeah.
My favorite memory with you. And then you kind of like talking, like, really, what was it? Mm-hmm. And see how we're going back and forth. Well, my favorite, maybe when we went in Baltimore, mm-hmm. and we ate. You see the conversation? Yeah, what about it?
Yeah.
So you both are excited, and then it brings back memory.
Yeah.
And it brings that close bond together.
And tell them about the benefits of kissing.
And the benefits of kissing like is what? You lose weight.
You lose weight. You burn calories.
You burn calories kissing.
I read that. I was like, no.
Kissing, you burn calories. We said we're gonna put LA Fitness out of business. We're gonna put Planet Fitness out of business. We're gonna say, hey, kiss your way to weight loss.
And then another thing too is like before you go to work, and if you work from home, mm-hmm. and you lock kiss, I call it lock kiss.
Yeah, I like that. I like that term.
Right, that closeness, that bond, because it's like, oh, he cares about, he loves me. It's not like kissing, in the morning, like bye, because somebody said it's like a routine. Now you have the book, keeping intimacy sweet and simple, and you're kissing, and there's a reason why you're kissing, because there's connection there. We could talk. And we could look at each other in the eye. So those different things too.
And we say when you kiss, we don't want you doing a water ski kiss where you, we want you scuba diving. We want you to go, we don't want you doing no water skiing, like you kiss your mama on the cheek kiss. We want you to go into territories and lands, and we want you to go deep and scuba dive and go deep into this. That's why we call it a 10-second kiss. So that when you put it together, you have a 10-second kiss with a 10-minute conversation. As my wife said, you burn calories, you live longer.
And less accidents going to work.
You have less car accidents.
Car accidents.
And one couple said they're going to be immortal because they're going to be kissing all the time. Yeah. And we just get back to doing
it. You live longer, you make more money, you're happier, you lose weight,
and
less accidents.
Have less accidents. And you're a researcher, you're a professor. So this is research based.
This is research based.
Wow.
Yeah, this is research based. Yeah.
But his benefits of kissing, that you burn more calories, came from the American Journal of Medicine.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. Isn't that something?
If somebody got
maybe if you're kissing, you're not eating.
Exactly. I think that's part of it. Yeah.
That's right.
Maybe that's it. So, Johnny and Lezlyn, let me take a moment because somebody might have just joined. We have the Relationship Architects. They're best-selling authors, and they're my guests on my XM show this week. And I want to encourage everybody to listen to the interview, which was phenomenal. It aired on Saturday at 4:00, but it's going to re-air tomorrow night, Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. And then for those who are watching on YouTube, might not see it by then, it will re-air one more time Thursday night at 6 p.m. We encourage everybody to tune in the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways Show, channel 141, Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. and listen to this phenomenal interview. My pastor listened on Saturday, and we talked right afterward. He said it was phenomenal. It was a great interview. Mm-hmm. So, okay, let me tell everybody object lesson. This is object lesson. They have been teaching couples how to rebuild their relationships, rebuild their marriages. And many of you who might be watching, many of you who might be checking it out, have been are in a very challenged relationship, maybe challenged marriage.
Or contentious.
Oh, contentious. Oh, what the word we heard the other day? This show is for people who are married, for single, for married, for coupled up,
or complicated.
Or it's complicated. Okay. And you know, people say that all the time. Well, how's your relationship? It's complicated.
What does that mean?
Some drama's going on. Now, that said, tell them the story, Johnny, of your parents, please.
Yeah. So my parents divorced when I was about 9 years old, and they were divorced for 36 years. And Lezlyn and I are now, we're married, and we started speaking nationally, and we're speaking at marriage conferences all over the place. And they would come to the conference. They would come to our conference and hear us speak, and they were just proud of their son and daughter-in-law. And after 36 years of divorce, I remarried them 15 years ago. Isn't that something?
Wow.
So what did you do? What was your impact that caused them to say or to see each other differently, to communicate differently? What was it that they were willing to do that you had shared with them?
The biggest thing that we tell couples, that you first got to own your current story before you turn the page to a better story. Whatever you don't own will own you. Okay, this goes all the way back to the book of Genesis, when God asked Adam, "Where are you?" And Adam didn't own it. He says, "It's the woman you gave me." And now you need some Michael Jackson theology. I'm looking for the man in the mirror, the woman in the mirror, the couple in the mirror, looking for them to change their way. Nothing could be any clearer. If you want to know the truth, take a look at yourself. Mom and dad want to know the truth. They took a look at themselves. They humbled themselves. We say it's the 8-letter word. When we get couples in front of us and we get them communicating, we coach them. Okay, Sally, what did you do that was hurtful to Charlie? I hurt him when I said, and will you forgive me, Charlie? Charlie, what did you do to hurt Sally? I said this, I disrespected her, I devalued her. Will you forgive me? If we can get them saying and owning and humility, they can turn the page. But you can't turn the page without humility. And that's what my dad did. That's what my mom did. And dad did it first, because dad was trying to get back with mom. Mom from Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? They built differently up there. It's a whole different kind of woman that, bless her heart. But yeah, that's the story. And we were praying for them for years. And yeah, I had the pleasure. So that's the hope. Couples need to hear, yes, you may not have had a great start to your story. It's not how your story started. Obviously, we all want to have a great start. What's more important is how is it ending?
Yeah.
And now they're in their 80s. And my dad and mom, they're living in Georgia. And I mean, he's pinching her on the butt and carrying him, chasing her around the house. And I'm like, Daddy, go get a room. He's like, Dad, he said, son, it's been 36 years. I'm like, okay, what you handle your business,
When he said that on the show, he kind of blew by it. And I said, no. That is so profound. Your parents were not only reconnected after 36 years of divorce, they came back together, and their son remarried him. Okay, so
question: How did you create a safe space for them to be willing to be vulnerable and to say, "Here's my issue"?
What would you say? I think they saw what we modeled. Yeah,
they were always seeing how we modeled. Yeah. And then the safe places. When I said, "Mom, just if you're gonna come here to visit us, come with Dad."
Right.
So she said, "No." I said, "No, do it." And then the niece came along, the grandkid came along, so they would talk to them in the car, and the ride down was talking to them. So when they came to us, she had me. I talked to her like, "Come here a little closer, let's talk." So this is great. Start one and start communicating, talking. Talk about your feelings, laugh. Don't talk about the past. Talk about good times. Wow, that you all came together, right? We're all together, the bond. So then it's like, you put ice in a freezer and you take it out. Eventually it will melt. Her heart was melted.
All right, before we go any further, let's tell people where they can get access to your book, Kiss.
Books, because
that's
also He mentioned turn the page.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I want people to know where. Brenda Colson said, this is good information.
Thank you.
Olivia, outstanding. Jackie Bledsoe,
it's
very profound.
Mm-hmm.
Thank
so
you.
where can people access you, get your book, get your resources? They might need coaching. Now, counseling. Folks, y'all know we say to you often, we are not marriage counselors. We are marriage mentors. Mm-hmm. Our job is to mentor people who are married to teach them what we've learned and just share it with them. But they are marriage counselors as well as coaches. And we do some coaching. Now, we will take some coaching clients, but very few because of my speaking schedule. But y'all got a whole process and a program and events. Tell them where they can reach you and learn more.
It's really, really simple. You want to write down, I hope you got your phone or a pen, piece of paper, pencil, theparkerspeak.com. theparkerspeak.com. Perhaps someone on IG or Instagram, Facebook can write that in the chat. theparkerspeak.com. And you know what? When they do that, oh my gosh, I almost forgot, Dr. Willie and D. Yeah. They'll see on the homepage, we just also launched our Kiss to Bliss love course. And the deal is this. Normally, that's $99. But tomorrow night, midnight, it normally it's $99. But for now, for Valentine's and for your audience, it's $67.
Wow!
Until tomorrow midnight.
All right.
So they want to jump on that, and they go to that homepage, theparkerspeak.com. At the top, you'll see, our Kiss to Bliss Master Love class, and they want to click that on, and you'll see it's normally $99, but for your audience, and we have discounted it to $67 till tomorrow night, Valentine. So people really want to take advantage of that.
We want people to take advantage of that.
So it could be the Valentine Kiss.
Right.
Is your book.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. And by the way, what it is, it's 10-minute videos of us teaching you from cuddling to conflict, deepen the love, sustain the love. We talk about the core values. We talk about vulnerability and how do you allow each other, how do we create an emotionally safe relationship? How do you honor and hear each other's heart? So we really have a lot of fun. It'll feel like you're just sitting in the living room and listening to our conversation at a front row seat.
Wow. Okay, let's talk.
You smile.
It does make you smile. It's wonderful. And for those who are joining us again, we've got Dr. Johnny and Lezlyn Parker. They're the relationship architects as we celebrate our time of the year, Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day. So we want to encourage everybody to go to the Parker Speak.
We want to encourage everybody to kiss.
To kiss, that's right. For at least
talk about how that kiss
10 seconds
deals with the 10 seconds deals with those in endorphins.
Okay.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, D. That's right.
It deepens that thing. It takes the oxytocin in that kiss because a kiss takes the edge off of stress. When you kissing, when we go to kiss each other, it does it just lightens the mood. And so we call it a fragrance or an odor. I may be an odor. She may be an odor. But when we kiss, we go from odor to fragrance. And guess what? When you're a fragrance, you bring happiness wherever you go. When you're an odor, you bring happiness whenever you go. So.
Are you an odor or a fragrance?
Odor or fragrance. And a kiss helps you to retain your fragrance.
And if you're a fragrance, I want to be around my spouse, right? Because I want to smell that fragrance.
Yeah.
I want to kiss that fragrance.
Ooh.
Wow. I love this.
It's hot up in here.
It's getting hot up in here.
We got to end this show. How long is this show?
Not long enough, okay? That's my favorite saying with people. This is for the brothers. Brothers, listen carefully. I'm going to give y'all a tip. Ladies, turn off your ears because you'll know the brother learned it from Willie Jolley. When people ask you, brothers, well, how long you been married? Your answer should be, not long enough. Okay,
right.
Your wife got to be around. Okay, she got to be. But what that says is that you're encouraging your wife. You're encouraging, and it's part of what you said earlier, Lezlyn, about the kind of person that you must make it a point to be. And what we said, after the show on Saturday aired, Dee and I went out. We were going out somewhere to an event, and I told her, I said, you know what that point it brought out to me was that people often say that marriage is hard work.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I cringe because I don't really like it like that. It's like, you know, you're hitting the rock.
But I tell them it's not hard labor.
Right.
One. And second, the hard work is on self.
I thought that was profound.
That's
exactly.
The work you got to do on self to be humble, Johnny. Have humility.
Exactly.
Apologize.
That's right.
Say I was wrong. That's hard work.
Yeah.
That's right.
You gotta work on yourself. That's where the work is. Compromise.
So if an individual does that, you're going to have a loving, kind, inviting household where people will want to be around you, not just your children, but it's the kind of home. I like being over there with the Jolleys there. You know.
Let me just take a moment for you, Johnny, go along with that thought. On this morning's show, and for those who are on my newsletter, which I encourage everybody to go to winwithwillie.com, sign up for the newsletter so you get a daily short 1-minute message to encourage you. And then it's also on Get Up Mornings with Erica Campbell across America every morning at 8:20 Eastern, 7:20 Central. I shared this quote from one of my mentors, Zig Ziglar. Zig Ziglar said, I have no way of knowing whether you married the right person or the wrong person. But I do know that many people have a lot of wrong ideas about marriage and what it takes to make the marriage happy and successful. I'll be the first to admit that it is possible that you did marry the wrong person. However, if you treat the wrong person like the right person, you could well have ended up marrying the right person in the first place. On the other hand, if you marry the right person and you treat the right person wrong, you certainly will have ended up marrying the wrong person. I also know that it is far more important to be the right kind of person than it is to marry the right person. In short, whether you marry the right person or the wrong person is primarily up to you. Right out of the book. And I want to encourage everybody to work on self. Make a commitment. And as Lezlyn said and Deja said, if each one of you adopt that mindset, I'm going to work on me. I'm going to do the hard work on myself. I'm going to, when I want to say something that you know is going to be hurtful, don't do it. Don't say it.
I think that requires self-discipline.
Well, it's still working on self.
Yeah.
That's right.
I think it's self-discipline.
That's right.
It can be extremely hard.
That's right. And I think Dr. Willie and Dee, we're selfish, right? It's like, I want it my way.
Right.
And then he wants it his way. And it's like somebody has to give.
Right.
So humility has to come in and say, you know what? I'm sorry. Let me just focus on what I've done wrong. If you do that, I'm telling you, the ice will melt. Things will just be like, put in the freeze, like I said. And then once you take it out, but it's a process. It's a process, not overnight.
Right.
That I had to say, I'm sorry that I did this. So
how do you help people get to that mindset, Lezlyn and Johnny? Because y'all have had many people who have come up to us who have said, we got our counseling from the Parkers and our marriage turned around. What are the processes? What are the steps? What are the connected dots that you tell people, okay, here's what it's going to take to do the process from the Parker perspective or the system. We know you got to be humble. You got to understand the backstage, the front stage, and you explain that to them. And then you got to do the kiss. What else do you tell them? Here are the things that you must do.
Yeah, you have to be intentional about, and I'll reiterate, the ownership. You got to be willing
own your stuff.
Own your stuff. And you got it, because we say this, whatever you don't own will own you.
Right.
And so you got to take ownership of your stuff. And so that's a big deal. And that's why we say what we say with the hard work. You're right. The hard work is on self. Hard work, but it's hard work.
I'm sorry. Go do the thing that I say was coined by Dr. Jolley Parker.
It's hard work, but it's heart work. And it's worth the work, and we can do the work, especially with God. We can do the work, and so that's what we say. And that
it's hard work. It's
heart work. Heart work. Yeah. Hard, heart, worth, do.
All right, so hard work, folks. You got to work on yourself, and the work is in your heart. So that's
exactly.
And then you can do the work.
Yeah.
And with God, all things are possible.
Yeah, exactly. And it's worth doing the work.
The work. And it's
it's worth the work. Married people earn more money. Married people live longer. Married people are happier. Married people have better sex. Married people have better sex. And guess what? When they bring the spiritual into their sex life and they pray together before they make love, that sex life that thing is off the chart. We're talking water ski. Yeah. It's all that. And so that's the beauty of bringing the faith to marriage and being really, really intentional, understanding the business of marriage and the business of faith in marriage. And so, we say to them, yes, you got to apply that 8-letter word, humility, because with humility, and the fear of God, you get life, honor, and riches. Who doesn't want that? And so we say that, and we also encourage them to keep a gratitude. Write down what they're grateful for. What are they grateful for? Because gratitude, what it does to your brain, it's a mood booster. And you want to share with them what we do when we go to bed?
Hold on a second, Johnny. Jackie asked, hard work is heart work. You can do the work, and it's worth the work. Is that it? That's it. Marriage is hard work. It's heart work. And the heart work is the hard work. You got to change your heart. And you can do the work, and it's worth the work.
Decide.
It's a decision.
To move your pride out of the way.
Yes.
Which is another way of saying you must be humble or become humble. But
that's right.
If your pride is
is
that is not going to work.
That's where it comes from.
And then you have to say, I'm sorry. A lot of times we don't want to come out and say that. I'm sorry, honey. And then your husband will say that, I'm sorry. Even though sometimes it just slips out and people don't want to. And I'm like, this is great in the couples. That's great. That's the first start by saying, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No,
and then it gets better. And then they start to communicate. And let me tell you why I'm sorry. So we say, tell me more. Mm-hmm. Tell me more why you said I'm sorry. And then they start to kind of like look at each other, and the communication, I don't know, they just kind of look different instead of like the frowning or like, yeah, right. It's just, she's just saying that, but it's intentional and you can feel it. They said you can feel it. So we say, make sure you say, I'm sorry, and tell your spouse why I'm sorry.
And we would add to the, I'm sorry, will you forgive me?
Will you forgive me?
You're asking something of them. Don't make
sorry,
me pay.
will you forgive me for what?
Forgiveness is a debt. Forgiveness is saying you're going to pay for that. So when you say, I'm sorry, as my Jamaican sensation said, and you add, will you forgive me? You're saying, please don't make me pay, and I won't make you pay. Let's forgive each other, because forgiveness is giving up my right to hurt you for hurting me.
Wow. Folks, are y'all getting this? Are y'all getting this? They got
to get the books. There's a lot of...
He got so much good stuff. Okay, Johnny, you were about to say something before I talked about that too.
Oh, yeah. Just one of the things that also the couples want to do. So the course I've taught at Hopkins is called Positive Psychology. So we get into the neuroscience. And those of you who aren't familiar with the field, you've seen it. You've seen things like grit, resilience. And so positive psychology is the science of human flourishing. How do we flourish? And so one of the hallmark virtue in the field is gratitude. So the science says this, that when we are people of gratitude, it's a mood booster. We have serotonin, dopamine in our brains. And so when we are intentional about writing down gratitude in a gratitude journal, I challenge you, if you write down 3 gratitudes once a week, you are actually feeding your brain positive emotional protein for your brain. And so we go to bed. Tell me we do it in bedtime at night.
And that's before you go to bed. You'll say, honey, whoever wants to go first, what's one thing that you're grateful for? Really? And I'm like, I want to go first. Mm-hmm. I'm grateful for waking up for the day, right? Whatever the day is, for waking up, for being with you, for my health, and then for my to-do list. And it's like, really? And then he'll say something too. So it's like the gratitude is just so important.
It is enriching. It's so powerful. And again, I shared earlier, I have had bouts in my life with depression and panic attacks. And I used to really battle with that. But when I've learned the power of gratitude, writing it down, we tell people to write it down, because when you write things down, it slows you down. Many of my students at Hopkins are millennials, so they want to do it with their phone. But when they go for a week and they do it pen to paper, they come back. Dr. Parker, you're right. If something changes, and we tell people all the time in business, on Zooms and Microsoft Teams and WebEx, when you start your meetings, start with wins. Start with gratitude. Don't start with the negative. And the same thing is true in your marriage. Go to bed with what gave you life today. What are you grateful for? And I'm telling you,
things that you are grateful for.
Yeah, three
That's
things.
right.
And we tell
That's
you
right.
to be really specific, because you go, when you get specific with gratitude, you get terrific in gratitude.
Woo, woo, woo. All right, look, I'm writing this stuff down,
Okay,
Johnny.
so
It's all in the book. It's in the book.
Positive psychology.
Yeah. Say more. I'm sorry, I missed it.
No, I'm saying you teach about the science of positive psychology.
Yeah.
Which is like faith and Christianity.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So we teach grit, resilience, faith, hope, savoring, which is really cool concept. And I said, at the hallmark virtue in the field of positive psychology is gratitude. People, I mean, it's just amazing studies. When you are a grateful person and your brain is in a positive place, you increase productivity by nearly 31%. People in sales increase sales productivity by nearly 37%, all because their brain is in a positive place.
And you think different, right? You
Yeah.
think differently.
It's changed me. I mean, you know, it has it's changed me. We know the power of that in our marriage, and you guys are the most powerful, positive people we know on earth. Every time we get a chance to hang out with y'all, we are getting all that. We getting all that dopamine hit from you guys.
That's right.
When you get specific with gratitude, you get, what was the last one?
Terrific.
Get terrific. Woo, folks, this is why I wanted them on. As we go into this holiday, this Valentine's Day, people are going to get candy and roses, and they're going to do it up and go out to dinner for one day. But then 3-4 days later, they're not talking to each other, or they're not communicating. They're not having sex. So that's what we want them to have. Lots of sex, not just the sex. We want them to make love. Now, that's a difference, because sex is just a physical emotion. Making love is emotional.
You want to have intimacy.
There we go. There we go. Intimacy. Men, we just did a photo shoot today for a magazine.
That's really why I have red on, but a little, so.
Well, you look good with red anytime.
Thank you, sweetie.
All right.
You look good in any color, D.
Any color. Any color. But one of the things we're talking about in this article is it's a men's magazine, and what men need to know that women need.
That's right.
Somebody. And what they need, listen, men, listen, it's in the book. Everybody should get 2 copies of the book, one for each of you. Women will learn what men need, men will learn what women need. But women need 2 things supersized. They need a lot, but these are supersized. Intimacy and security.
Mm-hmm.
Critical. Intimacy is not always sex. It's that warm feeling inside,
right.
that you're speaking to them good, that you're kind, that you have good, loving word. Intimacy warms them up on the inside. It leads to sex, but it's that intimacy. And then security, that you got them. I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about a thing. I got you. Women want that. Now, men, somebody said, well, men want it too, but yeah, men want it not at the same level that women want. Now, men want something else. They want sex and respect. Come on, somebody. They want sex. They think sex. They talk sex. They think about sex, according to research, 17 times a day, sometime before breakfast. So they need is a physical, like air and water and food. They need sex, but they need respect. They need
in order to get to sex,
yeah.
it's how you treat your mate to get.
That's right. That's right. We hope look, people are joining in, they speaking up.
And another thing, guess what's important? Time. Even though Valentine's Day is tomorrow, it's almost like I want time with you. Because that time is just priceless. You don't get that back. It's so and it's like all the candy and going out, but time with you, that's so valuable. You know, because in our busy schedule of life, you know, you doing this, I'm doing this. And it's like, where's time? Well, I'll try to squeeze you in at night. No, I need some time before we go to bed.
Also the love, like Lezlyn. So it goes to knowing your partner's love language.
That's it. It goes into
And
that.
for some people want time. Somebody else might want things. Somebody else might want that touch. So
That's right, D.
how do you get that if you're not constantly communicating? Communicating isn't always the words.
Yeah.
It's watching how they behave.
That's
It's
right.
listening to the words that they're saying. It's really, if you haven't studied your mate,
That's right, D.
you really
That's
don't
right.
know who they are.
Right.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
right. Because D and Dr. Willie, I would say, my husband said, honey, what's going on? Well, honey, you haven't spent time with me. Oh, but he knew, but there's different things like avoidance I'll do, or I'll turn this way, or I'll just shut down. And he'll say, okay, something is, so you got to know your spouse. What's going on. And then he knows that something is going on. So that's important for him to ask you, honey, can you come in for a minute? Okay. And I'm really kind of, I want to rebel, but I'm like, I'm gonna let him play this out. And then if he comes and run after me, then I would tell him. And I love it because it's like, oh, you're interested?
The love boat.
So it's like he loves me, you know? And so it's like, honey, I do want to talk because I want time with you. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like, kind of like let him run a little bit, you know, after you a little bit. And it's like, and they like it.
I lost my hair running. That's why I lost all this hair.
That's why I lost weight.
So Johnny Parker and Lezlyn Parker, as we come to a close of this show, it's been a fascinating hour.
It has
One of the
been.
things I want everybody to send us a note. How'd you like the hour format? We've been doing 30 minutes for now 3 years. But
I think for special occasions.
for special occasions.
This is a special occasion.
This special occasion.
Thank you. Thank
We
you.
want to get your input. Now, here's what I want to make sure people know is how they can reach the Parkers and what they can get resource-wise to help them in their marriages. Because you know what? What do we learn? That the average marriage counselor is between $250 and $500 an hour for a couple, or somewhere in there, or the divorce lawyers.
Divorce lawyers are wealthy people.
They start at some of them started. You must put a $10,000 retainer down. Okay, so and we got a friend who's one of the biggest divorce lawyers in Maryland. He goes to the same gym. We had dinner. He and his wife been married 50 years, but he drives up in that gym every week in a Bentley. All right, so I'm saying worth the time. Greg Cozera, well worth the time spent. I liked it a lot. Thank you, Greg. Elizabeth said this was great. Where can they reach you, Johnny? What are the resources that they should look at?
Again, tell us.
Yeah.
The Parker.
Yeah. The Parkers, Parkers, theparkerspeak.com. And please, you go to that. You want to go to that tonight, because tomorrow night at midnight, well, what's going on right now, because for your audience, XM and everything, we have a Kiss to Bliss Master Love course, and they go to the homepage. It'll be right at the top of the page, and they want to click that on because it's normally priced at $99, and only good through tomorrow night midnight. It'll be $67. Like you said, Dr. Willie and D, we tell people all the time, we are a lot cheaper than a divorce lawyer, and I've been subpoenaed to divorce court. I know what they cost, and so you want to go ahead to parkerspeak.com and click on that Master Love course. Take that course, really take that course, and you're going to get 10-minute on-demand videos. It is going to help you go from the land of isolation and loneliness to the land of closeness, from conflict to cuddling, vulnerability, emotional safety, honoring and hearing each other's heart. So you really want to go ahead and invest in yourself, invest in your marriage by going to that the website, theparkerspeak.com, and click on the.
I highly
That's
recommend.
Called being intentional.
Intentional, and they talk about
the
it.
relationship.
Now, last but not least, we're going to get ready to close. Does people on your website know how they can also get counseling from you guys?
Yes, and we've switched up because we call it really coaching, because a lot of what we're doing now is preventative stuff.
Okay,
right?
Great.
Yeah, we're doing. We still go into, and we pretty much only coach leaders in business, sports, faith-based, corporate, and so we have other people that we refer to that if it's not a good fit for us, and so they can go there to parkerspeak.com and they can click on for coaching. They can click on to bring us to speak. They can do that. All that's right there. They can see all the resources on our website. All that is right there for them. They can get some samples of us speaking in action. We just got back from doing a marriage conference for over 200 couples just this weekend. And so, and we're heading out to Nashville next weekend to do something else, some other marriage stuff together in the Nashville area. So Nashville, get ready. We're coming.
All right. Well, folks in Nashville, look out for the Parkers. They're coming your way. I want to thank Dr. Johnny and Lezlyn, the relationship architects.
Thank you for joining us.
Always an honor.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Go to the parkerspeak.com. Take advantage of so many nice comments in our chat. For people saying how much they loved it, they enjoyed it, it's different, it's great, it's excellent, and you guys are outstanding. And remember, you can hear their whole
time well spent.
You can hear their whole interview on my XM show. It will air tomorrow and Thursday at 6 p.m., Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. on channel 141. Listen in if you have XM. If you don't have XM, we wait about a week. It'll be on my podcast, which is access free on any podcast platform. Remember that the TED Talk by the Jolleys, D and Willie Jolley, How to Never Argue Again in Marriage, is available now. And people are just blowing up our phones, blowing up our email, blowing up our social media about how they love her. I mean, one person said, y'all are hilarious, but so impactful. And so go to jollymarriage.com to get that free. We have one request. Share it with everybody you know who's married. We want millions of people to understand that you don't have to argue. There are ways to keep from arguing if you get the system. We got a system we share. Last but not least, the Jolley Marriage book. Everybody should get 2 copies, one for you and one for your significant other. If you're single, you want to get a copy because there's a chapter in here for people who are not yet single. So we want that. Not yet married. They're single. Get it for you and the upcoming spouse. Get 2. One lady at the church said, give me 2. And I said, your husband on the way? She said, I ain't got a husband, but he on the way. And when he get here, I want to read this book. So he'll treat me like you treat your wife. So get 2 copies. We give you a discount if you get 2 copies. Watch the TED Talk and then join us on XM tomorrow, Tuesday at 6 and Thursday at 6 to hear the rest of the story with the Parkers. Lots of great information. I want to thank y'all. Y'all are just awesome.
You. So much fun. We don't want it to end.
I know, that's right. But we're going to go out on the music and hopefully people will take advantage of this. Blessings to you all. Here we go.
Why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like me, they long to be close to you.